what is up? My name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hope you guys are doing well. Today on the channel we're doing something very exciting for me. We are bringing back the OG videos. About a year or two ago I used to have this series on my channel called Book Review Tuesday, where I would review a book every Tuesday essentially that was either underhyped, a book I really loved, or a book I thought you guys might want to skip. And I just feel like I want to bring back book reviews. I think they're super helpful. I love looking at them either when I read a book that I really loved, or maybe when I'm not sure if I want to buy a book. So we're bringing it back with a book that I read recently and absolutely adored. It's one of my favorite books of 2020, also an introduction to the genre for me, and just I think a book that might be underhyped. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it. So in this video we are going to talk about Reborn Yesterday by Tessa Bailey. Tessa Bailey is mostly known for her romance book series, the first one being Fix Her Up. I actually didn't even like this one, but this was amazing. This series is called Phenomenal Fates. There are two books out presently, the first one being Reborn Yesterday, the second one being This Time Tomorrow, which I still need to read, and it is indie published, whereas Fix Her Up was actually published by a publishing house, if I'm not mistaken. This is an adult paranormal romance featuring vampires, and it's around 375 pages. As I mentioned, I really loved it, and therefore I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. So the premise of the story is that we follow a main character named Ginny, and her father actually passed away, and therefore she inherited of this funeral home her father had, who was kind of going out of business, but is still kind of, you know, it's hanging on but by a thread, and therefore Ginny actually works the funeral home. She works the night shift, and her stepmother, who still lives with Ginny, actually works the day shift. When the book starts, we see Ginny working her night shift, and she sees this beautiful man laying on her table, and in her head we see that she finds it very unfortunate that this man has passed away. He's a very beautiful looking man. Turns out he's not dead. His name is Jonas. He's a vampire, and his friends had basically played a prank on him where on his, was it his birthday, I believe, they kind of brought him to the funeral home when he was sleeping. They very rarely sleep, and so they sleep very deeply, and he woke up in the funeral home, and the story goes from there. Obviously there's a romantic relationship between Ginny and Jonas, and the book was fantastic. As I mentioned, this was an introduction for me. I had purchased this book on Kindle, and one night when I couldn't fall asleep I started reading on my phone, and I believe I read 40% of the book in in 2 hours or something. I was so engrossed in the story, which I did not think would happen, because as I mentioned, I was just kind of experimenting with paranormal romance because this book was so cheap, and a few of my favorite booktubers have talked about it, and it turns out that I finished it the morning after. I could not do anything else but read this book. It was so engrossing and captivating, and I loved it, and I just think it's a great introduction to paranormal romance. If we want to discuss characters, we have Ginny, who is obviously our main character. She's more socially isolated. A lot of people don't like her because of her job, because she is working in a funeral home. A lot of people give her nicknames regarding death, like Death Girl and just a bunch of things, and so she's kind of excluded socially, and it takes a toll on you. It's hard, but she does her own thing. She still really is proud of the legacy that she is working on, and she loved the funeral home and her father, so for her it's important to keep it going. She also takes dressmaking classes, so she does have a darker side but also a very feminine side, and I really loved the balance. I really enjoyed being in her head, and her determination and just her personality was very fun and quirky, but not too much I'm not like other girls kind of thing. And then we have Jonas, who is the main love interest, who is also phenomenal. I thought he was going to be a killer vampire that's kind of a jerk, but you end up liking him because the main character does, but he's a sweet being, you guys. I just loved him. He's very caring and protective, and he's everything you want a vampire to be. He's not like Edward Cullen's kind of creepy. He's just a very nice vampire. He's also very important in the vampire hierarchy, I guess you can say, and he takes his role very seriously, so that's where the conflict kind of comes in the book. I loved his personality and how much he cared for a main character, and how far he went to protect her and make sure that she was safe, because things happen in the book that make her not safe, and it was very interesting, the dynamic and the banter between the two main characters. The side characters in this were absolutely phenomenal. We follow some of the other side characters in their own stories in the next books that are being published, so I don't want to talk too much about them, but I just loved the dynamic between the side characters and the main characters. Everybody was really well fleshed out. I think the pacing of this book was absolutely fantastic. You got to learn about the characters, and it is definitely like a character-driven book, but there's also a lot of plot intrigue and like the political intrigue in the vampire world, and how humans aren't supposed to know about vampires, and how it becomes a conflict when Jonas and Ginny meet. There's also different storylines that intertwine from our characters' past, and I don't want to spoil anything, but this book was absolutely phenomenal. The setting was great, the atmosphere was really on point, this book is engaging, and I just really recommend reading this book. If you like vampires, definitely read it. If you want an introduction to the genre, I definitely think it is suitable. I would say if you like more like fantastical elements in your paranormal romances, maybe that's not for you, because a lot of it is just real world, just a few vampires mixed in with it, and the politics between the two worlds, but it's not like vampires are trying to take over, or that the vampire world becomes super prominent in the real world. It's really based on the romance between the two characters and the subplot it creates. So just throwing that out there, but honestly I highly recommend this, and yeah, I just wanted to showcase this book on my channel, let you guys know that this book is really, really fun. The plot is absolutely amazing, and I loved it so much that I wanted to get myself a physical copy, which my boyfriend kindly gifted to me, as well as the sequel. If you guys want me to review the sequel as well, let me know. I would gladly do so. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you very soon with another one. Bye guys!